All right, STAT students, we are going to go over the Unit 2 project, some things you should be looking out for when you're creating this, and some ideas on how to get you going if you feel like you're stuck. So, what's the first thing that you want to do? You want to get to the instructions, right? We are at a point in our project where we've already collected the data, okay? So we've got the points here, everything's ready to go. I'm going to use the same points that I used in the exemplar that I've shared out. All right, these are your explanatory and response variables. We're talking about sacks and interceptions from 12 quarterbacks. So I've already got that data. All right, so we're going to go back to the instructions now and see, okay, I need to answer all 12 questions in the slides presentation. And we're going to actually answer these in a slides presentation. So you're going to have a full presentation of your findings, kind of like what you see in the exemplar. And that's the first reference that I've given you. You should click on this down here and see what the exemplar looks like, okay? And open that in a new window so that it's on the side, okay? So I think the three dots, you'll have it, and it'll tell you to open in a new window. So now you can go back and forth, right? So I go back and forth between the actual project and the instructions and the exemplar, and I can see what I need to do. All right, so we go back to the instructions. We see some other references. So thinking about how to get the graph that we're going to have to graph is in day 24 and day 25. The sentences that we're going to have to write, those are all resourced in that in these worksheets here and notes. Okay, so we've clicked on the project, right? We have our own project. You can add a slide here, right? So there's the first page, the second page that has the instructions. First page is saying you can use this slide. It's also saying that this is essentially the test, and we're grading this on accuracy, right? So there it is. Okay, so you can still use these slides if you want and add a new slide. So when we get to our instructions, we see all the 12 things that we need to do. All right. If I want to just create this and do this off of the slides that have already been given, I can just go here to that plus sign, right? And I can click on that and it'll give me a new slide. So it gives it in different formats. If I want to look at the different formats, I click on the arrow next to the plus sign and you can see all the other headers and ways that it can be laid out. Okay, if you want some background, that's fine too. The only thing is at the end of this, you should only have your project, okay, not the instructions and the cover page, okay? So what does that mean? I think maybe it means that a better way to go is to go to File, right, and create a whole new presentation. So click on that. Okay, so we've got a new presentation. I'm going to title it, so I'm going to say this is my Unit 2 project. So this is now mine, and I'm going to make this whatever style I want. So you get all the options for styles. Scroll down and check which one you like gray or whatever. Pick whichever one you want to use, okay? So then you get to have a little bit of a design, create your own thing, all right? You can always bring in templates from somewhere else as well. So it should present with a title, right? And so we go back to our instructions and we see the title page, right? Decide what relationship we want to study. We've already done that in previous assignments, right? So we picked that. And then A and B is talking about which is the explanatory and the response. So we have that information that we've already collected. I can also go to the exemplar and see how did they do this, right? So number one here is number one in the directions, okay? So when we look at that, I see there's like some kind of title, and then I talk about which is explanatory, which is response. Okay, so you can go into your slides, make your title, click on there, and it's like whatever, quarterback performance, or the question that you were thinking about when you were thinking about the relationship. And that's not spelled correct. Okay, and then, in a separate box, you can go down here and do your directions for number one, right? So if I'm thinking number one is explanatory and response, on the slide, I'm going to put number one, explanatory, was what, and the response was what. Okay, so then I've got that information. I've linked it to the question that I've got in the directions, like which number is this? And we're good to go. Okay, so that's number one. All right, then I go down to number two, back to the directions, collect data, 12 points. We've done that. So now I want to transfer that to my presentation. So I look at the exemplar, and the exemplar has not just the data table, but like a description of who I collect the data from. That was part of the instructions there. It said, also identify who you got the data from in number two, right? There, okay? All right, so now we're looking at doing number two. And I need a new slide, right? Because the exemplar showed a new slide. I don't want to put everything on one slide, but you can try to fit as much as you want to. So you click on that plus, you can kind of design it how you like, all right? And I might want to move some things around here because I want to get the table in there, right? So maybe I take the first box to talk about what I've been collecting data from. So this is number two, right? And I go over to my slides and I realize, yeah, I'd already written this out. I've got the data from 12 NFL quarterbacks. All right, so then I put that in there. Okay, very good. So then I want to get the table, right? So how do I get a table in here? Well, we've already made a table, okay, in this assignment here. So I can just copy and paste this into the slide. So I just highlight everything. If you want to have the first row in there with the people, that's great. If you don't have actual names, or that's fine too. So you highlight, you copy, and bring it over to the slide. And when you just get to the slide, you click on it, and the table, when you do Control V, it'll paste by itself. Eventually. There it is. And then you just drag it to where you want to put it. Done. If you don't want the other text box behind it, you can click on that and then just delete it, and you're good to go. So we've done number two. All right, so we go back to the instructions. What's number three? We need the equation of the regression line, and then number four, scatter plot. So how are we going to get the equation? And if I want to know what that kind of looks like, I go back to the exemplar and say, oh, there's the equation. Okay, we got that data. I need that kind of graph. Okay, good. Okay, so we've got the link in the instructions. So we go to that, the Desmos link, we click on that. And if you just highlight it, you just click on it once and you see this, you can click on that and it opens the graph. Okay? And this is the graph that we've been using.